From Needles, California to Butte, Montana. From Jackson Hole, Wyoming to the Flying J truck stop in Fontana. Let's ride. We want to ride shotgun with you for the next hour, talking trucking with Deaton and Doty. How's it going, Mike?
Good. How are you guys doing this week?
Good. How about you, Christian?
I'm doing great. I got voted most awesome father for Father's Day. So
look at that.
It's a close tally, but yeah.
I think we all got that.
Even I got one of those.
Yeah. Zach got one. He's not even a dad.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Well, today on the show, joining us this week, as always, Christian Sneed from the Dawson Fleet, the regular cast of characters, Ray and Jim Mackey. Join us, Battle Kumar in Trucking Questions with Kumar, Wide World of Sports with Joel Howle,
U.S.
Trucking News with Ian Dunlap, and On the Road with Jim Mackey and Ray. So let's get into the market this week. What have you been seeing with your guys? What have you been doing down there in Florida? Doty?
I was real happy with the way I ran my guys this week. I switched it up a little, how I normally do, because I had to redeem myself for Dalla and a couple other guys that were a little low on the rate per mile last time. They were still up around the DAT average, but I think if I'm around the DAT average, I'm not doing too well. It's just me. So yeah, much better this week. Much better for the guys. I was real happy. I ran them kind of on the East Coast. Dalla, he did the best.
Hey, before you get into
miles.
that, we were talking about it earlier, you and me, Mike, that truck behind you. So that's yeah. Tell us where that's at.
That's in the museum, Iowa 80, right there in that in the parking lot there, right across from the parking lot.
Do we know?
There's a bunch of trucks in there.
We know anything? What kind of truck is that? It looks like a Pete from the front end.
Yeah, I don't know. I have no idea. I think it is though. I got a bunch of pictures of all the trucks in there. They got some cool stuff.
Yeah, I've been there a ton of times, but I never went in the museum. Only the truck stop where they have that one. Well, I think it was a big yellow Pete sitting in the truck stop store.
Yeah, inside. Yeah. Yellow or blue.
So how'd you run your guys?
Yeah, so I'll just show you. Share this. I'll just run through it real quick. You guys see that?
Yeah.
So this was Lee. Again, I'll run a Friday to Monday load, but this time I switched it up on Lee and Dalla. Got him some loads that delivered over the weekend and then picked up. Austin kind of saved Lee because he was held up at the delivery over the weekend, make a pickup. And then our new after hours guy, picked it right back up and got him booked on a Sunday for some good money on some short miles. Unfortunately, that was the load with the mishap where they slid. It was plastic pallets. So Christian, plastic pallets on a wood floor, non-skid pads or?
You have to.
Or not?
I mean, generally, yeah. But, yeah, I mean yeah.
So what happened? So what happened, Christian, on this load Mike's talking about? They loaded him, I think it was a coil of wires, right, Mike?
It was copper, yeah. Copper coil,
okay.
Yeah, copper.
So they put the pallets down the middle.
Straight down the center, six pallets.
6 pallets
Just
down the middle.
Stack center, yeah.
And they didn't put any, no slip or non-skid pads underneath the plastic pallets. As soon as he left the place, he took a left turn and the load shifted right, and he couldn't move. So we had to send a wrecker out there to shift them back to the middle. I'm not even sure how they did that, Mike. They
had the boom inside the truck. They slid that boom out inside, put it inside the van, and picked them up and just moved them over to the center, each one.
Yeah. And then he went back to the shipper because he was right there, and Austin handled all this. Our new guy, our new night dispatcher, on Sunday, he went back and they reworked it and put the pads under it, and we were good, right? And the guys on the dock even told Austin that they should have had pads under it. The shipper on Sunday said they would pay for the wrecker that we had to send out to straighten it out.
Yep.
And then on Monday,
Yeah.
they tried to get out of it. They were trying to get, because we didn't pay the wrecker. They were going to pay it on Monday, so the wrecker was still not paid. I think that was $750. And finally, I think between Ian and Austin and Mike, they escalated it up to whoever could make that decision, and we were all on the phone with them. And
Yeah, I couldn't get an email, so I just went online, found their website. There was no email on there, so I just sent a message to the company about what happened. And then the guy that actually refused to pay it called my cell, and talked. And that's when I got Russ and Ian on. And he tried to say they didn't use nonstick pads all the time, that it wasn't standard. But the guys that in the warehouse that were loading them said they have it sitting by the door, each door,
every dock, and
they should be used every time.
Yeah.
And we told the guy, come on, let's not be ridiculous here. I mean, we know, for $750, you guys clearly made a mistake. Your dock guys even said it should have had the pads. We went back and they made it right and put the pads under it. And he got upset and then said, we made so much money last month.
We made $35 million last month.
Yeah, he said, send us the bill. And we said, thank you. Here it is. And they paid it.
Sounds good. Appreciate you taking care of it.
Yeah.
That's exactly how we felt. But we had to get on them a little bit.
If something's our fault, you just own it,
Yeah.
If you made a mistake, just own it. And that's all there is to it. Simple.
I think they're fortunate he wasn't going 45 miles an hour and having to lock the brakes up,
Well, that's the thing. And it slid. He was at a stop sign, and then pulled out to make the turn. And that slow, they slid. I mean, plastic pallets on a slick wood floor. Even though each one was probably 8,000 pounds, 3 or 4 guys probably could have pushed them around in there. But anyway, so Austin took care of that. That was great.
Yeah, great job, Austin. I mean, he
comes from a good bloodline, I hear.
And the biggest thing was, and this, we all need to do this, but we preach it here in our office, document everything. And he did. He was backed every phone call up with an email. So when we did have to kind of argue with him a little bit on Monday, man, we had great documentation on everything that transpired, everything everybody said, and that made it easy.
Yeah,
so,
and Lee had all the pictures from where he was, where he stopped, where, everything. But that was Lee. So yeah, Austin kind of saved him there. They ended up 332 a mile, 77.35, but real happy with 332 on all miles for a van. Dala, let's see. Hey, hold on. Dala, he killed it. You see, I kind of ran him on the East Coast over there, and this was on 2,000 miles, 77.75, 380 a mile on all miles. For
that's
him.
nice.
Yeah, again, I switched up. What's that?
Is it with that 316 Gator Lane down there in Whistle? Was it Pepsi or Gatorade?
Yep. I think it was Gatorade. But yeah, he and again, I switched it up. I had him, instead of doing a load from Friday to Monday, I found loads that delivered on Saturday or Sunday so he could pick up and get something else in, and it worked out.
And that really helped him, because he's the one we talked about last week that certified his logs and had left himself on duty for a long time. So it really hurt him last week.
Well, yeah, he had a rough couple of weeks. He went up on, that was the one he went in Minnesota on a Friday, and they closed at 2. He was there at 2:30. They wouldn't unload him till Monday, and then the orientation thing. So he's kind of not terrible weeks, but from what he's came from car hauling, so he's used to making real good money. So and he knew he wasn't going to make that going into a van, but he wanted to come over and maybe hopefully try to grow with us. So we'll see what happens. But he's a great.
Yeah, good job on it. That's great.
And I was able to pull him out of the hole. This is the step deck, John. He $398 a mile, $7,700. He takes 34 every weekend, so it's pretty straightforward. Just a couple short loads, not real short, but let's see. Where we at? Tom, this is my company driver. $292 a mile, all mile, 7,300. Came out of the house and was over in Delaware. We got Robbie. He was at the house, and then I had to get him up to Cleveland for a wedding. So this is kind of his run. He came out Monday, and they'll be in Cleveland Friday morning.
So did Robbie get married?
No, I think he's going to a wedding. He's got a rehearsal dinner to be at Friday night. So I booked him out to get him there. And then, yeah, that's about it for my guys. Let's see, how do I?
Yeah, that's some good running, man. That's some good routing. I like it.
Yeah, I was really worried about that. I mean, I was really wanting to take care of Dala. He kind of had a rough 2 weeks. So.
Yeah, you definitely got him back on track. $4 a mile, almost.
Yeah, you kicked DAT's rates in the mouth. Yep, and that's all miles, not loaded. That's good.
Yeah, no, that's all miles.
If I get into a truck, I'm going to be giving you a call, just so we're clear.
Why don't you call me? I'm the king of the short stuff. I'll run you around Roanoke.
Because I don't like Massachusetts, Russ.
Yeah. What about Maine?
How about North Dakota?
In January.
Well, speaking of, before we get to your guys, Christian.
How do I stop sharing? I don't know what I did with my.
It should be at the top bar or at the very bottom. So stop screen.
Oh, there it is. Gotcha. There it is. Sorry. There we go.
Speaking of what we were doing all week, so our good friend and also our load planner on the Deaton fleet, Tom, had to unexpectedly went in the hospital and had surgery, and he came through it over the weekend amazingly, and he's going to be a little down for the count for a little while. It was a major surgery, and but he's recovering really, really well. I've been talking to him and his wife every day. So I've had a lot on my plate because I work with Tom together. We work on his guys together, and so I've kind of had him on my own. I mean, Ian's been helping me and Zach, but yeah, and I've actually had fun. But I've been so busy with those guys. I've had to call Kevin and Nate, and I'm like, what did I book you on yesterday? Where are you going to be, and how much did I get for it? Because I'm working till 8 o'clock at night trying to keep them stacked out and planned well, and Tom does such a great job with them. I mean, I can't come in with their weeks being any lower than his. I did pretty good. I think we cracked it out of the park on just about everybody. But it's been fun, and it's been an adventure taking on that. And I like filling in for whoever's on vacation in our office and stuff like that. But Tom, I realize now Tom has a lot on his plate between our flatbeds. He doesn't do all the reefers, but most of them, and not all the flats and steps, but most of them. It's a lot, and he does a great job. And so Tom, I know you'll be watching. We're all rooting for you. I got drivers calling me every day. Ray's got you in the prayer group. I sent that today's devotion that Ray put in there for a speedy recovery for you. And so hats off to you, buddy. We got your back. No worries here. Everybody's moving. So on that note, Christian, how you doing over there in Roanoke? What are you how you running your guys this week?
We ran a lot of them out of Georgia and out west, and then ran some guys back from there. I'll screen share as well here real quick. Let me know when it pops up.
It's up.
All right, cool. So I covered my guys last week, similar to Mike does, and then this week I figured I'd go ahead and move back over to FreightWaves. I know you had asked about it last week and hadn't gotten enough time with the power and internet outage and everything else. So I went through. They have a daily update on their website, which is little daily update that they give. They give the national averages for a bunch of things. One thing I'm going to work on moving forward, because there's such a large following on the Spotify and not having the visual on the screen, I'll walk through each of the definitions, not just the indicators. So there's a couple things we're going to be looking at, and this is dated June 22nd of this year. And so this is a daily change. This is a daily change, not a weekly that we're looking at. They have something called the OTVI, which is the Outbound Tender Volume Index, and I'll get into the definitions here in just a minute. So it shows that change, as well as the outbound tender lead time, how much time it takes to have those tenders accepted and pushed back. And then the rejection index, which, as we've talked in the past, is actually the indicator of which tenders get rejected and fall into what we call the spot market. So here you'll see the daily change was that it was up, it's in green, that there were more outbound tender rejections, 2% greater today than the day prior. So OTO,
that's
OT.
I'm sorry, Christian. That's the whole nation.
US.
Okay.
Yeah, that's whole U.S. Yeah, everything we're going to talk about is solely just whole United States statistics. If I break it down by territory, then I'll let you know. Here's the outbound tender rejection index. We're going to look specifically at the van and reefer, mostly van outbound tender rejection. And what that is, the VOTRI is the van outbound tender rejection index. And that's the percentage of outbound tenders that are rejected in any specific period. If we change the front from a V to an R, that would change to reefer. And then we can change it from week to month, so we can change the parameters. But just as an outbound tender rejection for all volume captured in the U.S., it shows that Lakeland, Florida was up 7.124% on a daily change. Houston, Texas, which if you guys have had trucks down there, it's been killer. I mean, it's been really nice, 6.6. Chattanooga, Tennessee is up 6.3% change overnight just in the rejection index. I think DAT was showing 17 to 1 or 18 to 1 load to truck volume ratio as well. So a lot of their data also backs this up from a ratio. Kansas City's outbound tender rejection, Kansas City, Missouri was up 5.7%. Elizabeth, New Jersey was up 5.39%. Then we also capture the low points. Outbound tender rejection index for Detroit and Columbus. Detroit was down 8.3% and Columbus 1%. So I know it's a little harder. We've had some guys up in the Detroit area and it's fallen off a little bit. And that's the map. This is the map for those that can see it, that's following through YouTube or other channels. This is the van outbound tender rejection. And you can see where it's blue, right? Those are good indications of rejection, right? Southern Texas going up towards avocados, right? You want to sing your song this week?
Yeah. Avocados from Mexico.
And then you see the coastal lines and a lot of port areas as well.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
We know that, Rush, you covered what's coming out of this particular area in the Northwest, which is cherries. Would you say 70% of the cherries as of June 1st?
Yeah.
So you see rejections through there.
About 900
up
loads.
through Sioux and all that.
We're already starting to
And
haul
was
them.
that for this week, these tender rejection, or this map?
Yeah, this is the 1 week change. Yep, this is 1 week change from last week to this week.
Well, that's pretty much those blue areas. Sorry, I was just going to say those blue areas on the East Coast is pretty much where I ran Dallas, so that might explain too why I was able to do pretty well with him.
Yeah. And, the other index that we have is how much does the phone ring? I think that's something that we kind of get a gauge from. We post the truck and we get 2 or 3, 4 or 5 calls right away. We're going to say, hang on, we're going to hold these cards closer to our chest. If it doesn't ring and it's been an hour and we're ghost posting and trying to pull from 100, 150 miles away, we know that we have to negotiate a little bit more. Or wait for that 3 o'clock freight train if it's close. So then this is the volume index, and really this value is it's the OTVI, it's the outbound tender volume index. And what FreightWaves does here, it's the value that moves in proportion to the total observable van outbound tender freight. Okay, so we can also change the timelines, whether we want that to be on weekly, monthly, or a daily basis. You'll see a lot of the similar trends here with Houston and Dallas, and the map that we have will show that these raised about 3.5%, 4%. And then Harrisburg, Allentown, Pennsylvania, and then Stockton, California were among the top. Among the bottom of the outbound tender volume index would have been Atlanta, Georgia. Indianapolis dropped a little bit. Detroit, Michigan shows its face again. And now this is on a volume index, not just a rejection, but also the volume of freight that's coming in and out of these areas, Chicago, Illinois, and Chattanooga. And so what we can do is we can overlay these, and we've looked at this 3D map once before, but this is the van outbound tender rejection, which is going to be a monthly change that we pulled here. So I know we typically look at a week, so I thought I'd show what a month looks like. A month is going to be a much more granular view. So if it's blue, it means that's where you want to be, because a month's a much larger span of time. So if it is up on the index, or as a percentage of change, or on their built-in index, right? Atlanta, coastal regions, avocados, ports, cherries, right? Mississippi, Tennessee, this area has been banging as well. And so the higher that it's stacked, and the bluer the color is what we're looking for. So we don't want something that might be white and highly stacked, because it's not a ton of rejections, which means the rates aren't moving up necessarily. But if we see a lot of rejections and we see that the color is blue and it's a fairly fixed state from a 3D dimension, that's where we're going to be putting our guys. Now, this is not a monthly. This is just, this is our 7-day, week over week. And this shows what our van volume and rejection is. And the blue is good. So things are still really going well for us. Again, you saw where you moved your guys, right? In this circle. And that's why you were hitting everywhere you were. So then we have market share, which this is really just indicates what percentage of a total state or an area a particular market would carry. So as we go through this next slide, the outbound tender market share, which is the OTMS, that essentially means what percentage of Houston, Texas is to the rest of the map. So if it's like a 3.6, oh, here it is in the bottom, actually. I put it down here. Houston's an example. It's on the next page. It'll be a 3.558. What that means is that it's carrying roughly 3.6% of all the loads that are tendered on that specific day in the United States.
Gotcha.
And we look at this because it's important to know what's popping and when. So right now, we're sending guys down there. We have some customer freight leaving out of Fort Worth if we need it. No offense to the customer. If our guys can dip richer in the market, we're going to tend that way. If they absolutely need a truck, we'll send one. But we understand that the spot market rate is going to be higher than the contracted rate, particularly in areas such as Houston, Texas, Dallas, Texas, because their market share, daily share, is up and growing. The same thing with Harrisburg and Allentown, Pennsylvania, right? And then we move on. The last is basically the haul, and a haul is basically, it's a general haul index. And what that's doing, that's talking about the spread between loads that are leaving a market versus entering. So this way you can say, hey, what is their share of market loads that are entering, or loads that are entering the market? Harrisburg, Columbus, Ohio, Houston, Texas, Chattanooga. You can see a lot of the same cities. So we typically, and then the downfall would be Joliet, Illinois, Chicago, Elizabeth on a daily change. Whoops, and that's last week. So we don't need to get to that.
I got a question on that. So
yeah,
on the Joliet, it was down. Mm-hmm. So they had 42% less volume than they did yesterday. Is that how?
Than day prior. Yes, than day prior.
Got it.
Yep. And it's not letting me stop share. There it is. Stop share. Cool.
So typically when you run, when you guys run your guys, are you constantly following the blue? I mean, for lack of a better term. Or...
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we follow the green, but it just happens to be colored blue on the map. Yeah, we do that.
Yeah, that's what we do.
And I think the cool thing is if you take this information and you pair it along with the DAT tools, because DAT is a capacity of rate, this is a capacity of analytics and volume. So ultimately, if you look at it and say, hey, what are my highest ratios and the highest volumes that I have in DAT, and you overlay that with what you have on freight waves, it's a really good indicator of where you need to put trucks. I'd go to Atlanta, Georgia every day, all day right now.
Yeah, well, I mean, Dalla is a good example. He ran over there on the east where there was blue. Lee, another one that did over, what was he at, 340 a mile or something, and he did. Yeah. He came from Ohio, but he ran down into the Alabama, Mississippi area. You know, those areas is where he got good rates on short runs. So I saw just looking at that map.
By the way, Mike,
their rate.
By the way, I did deadhead someone. I deadheaded Bill 350 miles this week out of Florida. He was in north of Orlando, and just the price of freight down there, you know, is definitely dropped, especially the further south you get.
Saturated.
And I called someone that I've worked with in the past, and he's like, yeah, I got stuff up by, South Carolina. And he said, send him, I'll pay you for the deadhead. And we ended up we just want to get back to our customer in Michigan. So we ended up, I think I got 32 on 900. If you add the deadhead in there on 1250 or something, still a good load.
Not a bad rate, right?
Yeah. And Bill was like, I'd rather deadhead, the 350 miles than everything down there near him was probably $2,200 going to Michigan, 24 maybe if you're lucky. So we thought outside the box and went that route.
Yeah,
hauled some
I
tomatoes.
don't think I've ever booked a long load out of Florida besides that one that I got 7,800 for Lee a couple weeks back or a month or two back.
If you need a long load out of Georgia, just call Joel. He'll get you one.
Well, and the other thing we look at too, Mike, is there's a lot of brokers that are still built in that the Northeast is always a cheap area to come out of.
Right.
And so there are a lot of 3PLs that don't have the analytical tools of a C.H. Robinson and a Coyote that see the indexes and will pay for these kind of programs. Like Connecticut, that area, it's still warm right now. So we have customers that do send us in there, but ultimately we're taking advantage of the spot market to go into areas that people generally, and it's not even seasonal. I mean, if you say, hey, I got a load to Massachusetts, my rate's $5-6 a mile all year long. But now we can get a rate like that going in there and say, look, we're going to cover the bridges and the tolls and the fact that it's going to be an inconvenience to idle, but you're going to have a $10,000 week as opposed to a $7,500 week.
Right.
And you're not going to do it on as many miles. So.
Yeah. It's been hitting. It's been hitting for a while over there on the Northeast.
And it's funny you say that about the big carriers that can afford that, because I switched up too. All those loads, I didn't, for Dala and Lee, I didn't book on DAT, or I didn't book like I normally do. I looked ahead and I used the C.H. Robinson, so we work with Danny over there, Schneider board. I kind of poked around on them and looked ahead, and I still negotiated with them.
He hauled one of our customer loads too from our Barberton customer. I think he just finished that today, right?
Yeah, he just delivered that today.
Yeah.
So,
that's nice. On time, right?
Yeah, and we broker most of those loads, but when we have anyone's metal arc truck, whether it's Dawson Fleet, Deaton Fleet, if we can put it on a metal arc truck, there's more visibility, more control, and we feel a little better. So Dala happened to be in the area, and bam, we put it on him. It's good.
And the guy was going to unload it by hand, one by one. Those blinds, man, it would have took. Dala went around and found a dock we could borrow, empty dock. But
they basically go to job sites or a construction warehouse from the plant here in Barberton, but that one didn't. That one came out of North Carolina, right? Zach or Ian?
Yeah, it was very unusual for what we usually do for them, but still got it handled.
So I'm gonna go through a quick couple things, and then we'll go back to you, Christian. You can tell us how you ran your guys. You got a few of those to go over.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Actually, I've got something to go over for Ray, but yeah.
Okay, so what are we up to? 3 on Joel?
That's 3. He's counting.
Almost zero change in the spot rates and the spot market this week. Summer officially started, and we are 3 weeks into hurricane season. There's been 3 named storms already, and I'm usually all over the weather. I just haven't had a chance. I've been really busy this week, but they said there's 3 named storms already, probably tropical depressions or storms. But NOAA is predicting another above-average hurricane season, and I was reading a little bit into that. I could not explain how they figure that out, but they know what they're doing. The load-to-truck ratio last week went up a little bit nationally in van, 5.17 loads to one truck. Nationally in reefer, up a little, 11.11 loads to one truck. And in flatbed, 65.49 loads to one truck. And if I remember correctly, last week wasn't it 74 loads to one truck? It was something like that. So flatbed did drop down a little on the volume overall. The national average 236 plus fuel per mile for van, 270 plus fuel per mile for reefer, and 270 also for flats plus fuel. And I like these little examples that the DAT gives. I always write them down. Ontario, California, 323 plus fuel average outbound. On Ontario reefer, 316 plus fuel average outbound, and on flats, 364 plus fuel in the top 10 markets average. And I mentioned this when I said I deadheaded someone out of Florida. Reefer rates are definitely dropping when you get down there, Orlando area and south in Florida. So you got to be a little creative. I also learned this, and you might know it, Mike or Christian or Joel, but Savannah is the nation's #1 export port for volume. So things leaving. I didn't know that. So a little fun fact.
Been good rates coming out of there lately too.
Yeah. So yeah, I like reading about stuff like that. Now I'm looking at what's going to Savannah. Now that I know that the most volume leaves there. It's Amazon Prime Week. I never heard of this before, but it's I guess it's when it's a big thing on. Have you heard of it, Zach? Amazon Prime Week.
Yeah.
Yeah. What is it?
All I know is if you work there, you get a crazy discount.
Yeah. So everybody's ordering from Amazon this week.
Well, everybody that orders there, yeah.
Yeah, that's right. And they said that because of the supply chain disruptions, 2/3 of Amazon suppliers have added a week or two to their supply chain, basically to when it gets there. So keep that in mind.
Ian's head might explode if we keep talking about Amazon.
Yeah, hopefully you ordered your fireworks, Christian. Hopefully they're on the way.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they're coming from Tennessee. We're fine.
Yeah. And don't forget the DOT Blitz is coming up right after the 4th of July weekend. What I read was the focus will be on reckless, aggressive driving, not just big trucks, but cars too, with other law enforcement, of course, and then brakes and stuff like that that they'll be looking for on big trucks. So let's go back to you, Christian, and talk about a few of your guys and how you ran them this week.
Well, actually, I ended up building something out for Ray here. I'll screen share real quick. Ray the other week had talked about fuel mileage and savings. No, it's not letting me screen share here. There it is.
You there, Ray?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, just making sure.
All right, great.
We got
Yeah, I
some
know
things-
Ray was all about the fuel savings. We had one of the team Freightliner fuel guys come to our quarterly safety meeting about 3-4 years ago, and he talked about how he was getting 10 miles to the gallon. Everybody in the audience rolled their eyes, all the drivers and the wives. Everybody, there's no way you're getting 10 miles to the gallon. This isn't like, I'd say 2000, maybe 14, 15. It's been longer than that. So what I did was I put together really quickly before the show, thinking of Ray about the actual mileage that he runs, what fuel that he's paying for, and then what kind of miles per gallon he's getting. So Ray, on a working week, when you're not at the house, how many miles are you running roughly a week?
About 2,000, 2,500.
Somewhere
Okay.
in there, yeah.
All right, 2,500. And what'd you pay for fuel the last time you filled up?
Don't remember. I'm not gonna lie.
In Texas,
I think it was about.
probably.
It was in Texas, but I think it was about 308.
I was gonna say around $3.
Okay,
So with our discount,
$3.
it's probably about 275, right?
Well,
Yeah,
Ray,
something like that.
yeah, because he
Yeah,
feels
about
it
that.
loves.
Probably that.
39 cents.
Somewhere
He
around
feels it loves. Okay.
280.
280. Yeah, 280 is a good number with the discount we get at Love's.
Okay, I'll put the standard fuel cost at 308 to show guys that are actually just paying pump prices and are not signed on to an
Okay,
agency
gotcha.
of any sort that don't have a fuel discount. Because if you go to a standard discount like a TA out the gate, they're going to offer you a 7-10 cent max.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got to get 18,000 gallons a month to even start to get on their radar. So, so if you look here, all I did was I plugged in the three indicators that are the baseline: 2,500 miles, $3.08 for fuel, and 5 miles per gallon. About $1,500 a week in fuel costs at 5 miles per gallon. What's your miles per gallon, Ray, driving 45 and a 60?
I don't know.
What do you get? Six and a half miles a gallon?
Yeah, I'm averaging miles over the last 30 days, about 6.8 to 7 miles per gallon. But I don't know what it is
Okay,
in
so
a
he's-
45 and 60.
So if you're left or right lane driving, it doesn't matter if you're getting that kind of fuel mileage. You're doing something right. So generally, I look at everything as a baseline for like a 12.7 Detroit. The 60 series Detroits, they just got a solid 6. It didn't matter how hard you let it go or how hard you pressed it. You were getting somewhere in that 6 depending on your weight. But if you looked at someone that was getting 5 miles per gallon that's doing a W900, with maybe 5.5 miles a gallon, but we'll use 5 as a baseline. If you're getting somewhere in that 6.8 to 6.7, 6.8, you're going to have $390 in your pocket, Ray. That's somebody that chose a less efficient or a less efficient driving habit. Not progressively shifting, going 75 and a 70, something like that.
Yeah.
Are you raising your hand, Russ, or are you just counting costs?
No, there was a fly on my mic. I had to get him out.
Doing both.
Yeah, I tend to drive a little slower than most people do. I tend to drive right around 62 to 64 in one truck. They're both geared different, so a lot has to do with how your gear ratio is on your rear end as to what your driving speed is going to be. But in one truck, I like to drive about 62, and the other one, it's got to be right around 66, 67 because it's geared for that. Otherwise, the fuel efficiency goes out the window.
Yeah, it's a little higher. Yep. Okay, well, just at 5 miles per gallon, that's your saving. At 6, you're still saving basically $140 to $150 per week.
Yeah.
Which that's going to range depending on where the guys are coming into it. There are some guys getting 5.25 on our fleet. They've got older trucks. They're paid for, great, but every week they're putting money out, if they're not idling properly or something else. So you're saving between 5 to 17 cents a mile that you drive compared to a lot of guys walking in here. So I just wanted to touch base on that because you brought up a really good point. It's not so much how you run and how you spend your money, but it's how you save it. And the guy that's if you did the same thing at 3,000 miles a week, you're putting $200 to $220 in your pocket on fuel savings.
Yeah.
It's
kind of like buying about one tank of fuel in a week.
What's that, Ray?
The savings.
Yep.
Yeah, the savings is almost like about saving about half a tank of fuel for the whole week, roughly, with today's prices.
Well, yeah, and I've always said this. Ray knows. If you can save a couple $100 a week, that's $800 a month. That's a good chunk of your truck payment. If you're an owner op and you're paying. I know a lot of our guys. That'd be a good chunk of their truck payment.
Well, I figured it out before. You pretty much buy a trailer. You pretty much make a trailer payment with fuel savings.
Exactly. Mike's always said that. Yep. It'll pay for the savings will pay for your trailer.
Yeah, because how many guys ride down the road doing 75 miles an hour thinking that they're doing more loads per week when in reality they're not, because if you drive from California to Ohio, the real question is how many times are you going to pass up the same truck that got loaded with you at the same place and is going to the same state you're going to? They're going to pass you every single day, 2 or 3 times a day. And you're driving 62, 63 miles an hour, and they're doing 75 down the road. They're still passing you 5, 6 times, during that same trip.
Yeah,
and that's what I told. And that's what I told Dalla about these short loads and the rate per mile. I said, man, bear with me this week. I said, you'll see it once the checks start rolling in. I said, you got a great rate per mile. And it's different.
Low miles, 2,000
miles.
Yeah,
2,000 miles, and it's different.
Low fuel.
It's a combination of. It's always a combination of occupancy, time, right? If you get $10 a mile on, or whatever the case is, but it's going to take 2 weeks, then is it worth it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Probably a bad example, but
well,
you get a great rate on a load, but you got to sit on it for 2 or 3 days, and it's not great anymore.
Yeah, that's not good. And
speaking of occupancy,
and I've never been late for a load because I was driving slow.
And since we got Ray right up to the bat here, let's Ray, we did an occupancy report on you this week. Can we get that screen share going? So this is Ray's route. Yeah.
All right. Long road
Ray's
ahead.
route.
The long road ahead. He woke up around noon, got in his Ford F-150, started it up, went to Target, bought a pink donut floaty for his pool, drove back home, got in the pool, cracked open a cold one, and chilled.
And here's this really long route.
And
It
here's
was,
the route in
15 and a half miles there and back.
San Antonio to the Target, back to the pool.
That's my wife.
And we got a great picture right here. 100% occupancy in the donut floaty.
Nice.
Save fuel money.
Who's
Saving
that handsome
fuel.
guy right there?
Saving fuel.
Yeah,
That's hilarious.
That's awesome.
Oh, I couldn't wait.
That's
That's
hilarious.
great.
It's fun.
I love it, man. I got to do more pictures like that.
Yeah.
Only you
Donut
could get,
floaty.
if only if you could get paid for laps around the pool like you do per mile, right?
Cents per lap.
Yeah.
I get paid in cold snacks.
Cents per beer.
Yeah, I get a cold snack every time I make a lap.
$1 a lap and 50 cents beer.
And honestly,
Yeah.
in Ray's defense, he told me we sent him up here to the Midwest, I don't know, a week or so ago, and he said I can stay out, I'm good. And but I'm so used to sending him back, I booked him right back to Fort Hood, which is 2 hours from home, and so he went on that over the weekend, and then he went home. So, but Ray does really well, and I like keeping him, as much as I can. If I see something that I can get going towards the house. It makes Irene happy, and it makes everybody happy.
In my defense, my truck is in the shop, so it did need to
needed
get
some
looked at. So
stuff.
yeah.
And we do have Ray's second truck is going to be occupied. That'll really help his occupancy because that guy's going to be running.
Between the two of them, you'll get 100% for one, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Oh
right.
man, yeah.
It
we're
might
so looking forward to that.
80-20, but it'll be
Yeah.
enough. But his name's Mark. He was a student of our Mark Chavez back at Werner, and
Michael.
Or I'm sorry,
Michael.
Michael. That's right. I got the Marks mixed up, but Mark Chavez trained him 4 or 5 years ago, I think, Ray.
7 years ago.
7 years ago, and Mark spoke very highly of him. He's gone through the process. I think he's almost done with his 2-week notice, so he'll be over here probably next week, right, Ray?
I believe so. I
Yeah.
still have yet to check with him, but I haven't heard nothing otherwise. So we're still planning on that.
Yeah.
Next week.
Christian, did you have any guys you wanted to show us how they ran before we jump over to the news?
No, I prepped over on the freight waves, and mostly because I got to thinking as I was listening to the podcast going up the road last Thursday, and I was not explaining in detail the different types of markets and what their analogies meant. So I just thought
that was good.
this week.
I just want to make sure I didn't
like-
leave any
I like
drivers
that.
out.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Yeah, I love that freight waves.
So with that being said, Ian Dunlap, what's going on in the news?
All right, couple things. Looks like the ports are open in China.
In the Yantian port?
Something like that. I
Yeah.
can't pronounce it. I tried.
So they're back open then.
Yeah, I
That's
was
good.
in the truck on my way here trying to figure out how to pronounce it. And
I think it's like
Didn't work.
Yanchin is how you say it, but it's spelled.
Shayshen.
Yeah, it's spelled differently.
So most of those are.
I
back
really
open.
want him to try it. If you're going to be in the news, he needs to try it.
Yeah.
You have to spell it.
Give it a
I'd
shot.
like to hear that. I'd like to hear that, please.
Yeah, no, I thought it was Shayshen. Shayshen. Something along those lines.
Right.
Szechuan. That's takeout.
Sashimi.
That's #1 Chinese takeout.
Yeah, shout out to #1 Kitchen on
Oh, God.
Manchester Road.
Air horn, air
right
horn,
down the
air
road. Right down the road is #1 Kitchen, and Ian lives there.
It is #1 Kitchen. It really
Number
is.
2.
Yeah. He loves
but yeah,
egg
The
rolls.
Ichiban.
#1. Yeah, they are having delays though, getting ships in there. So that's something that they're dealing with. So hopefully they can get those loaded and headed over here, over to Los Angeles or some other port on the West Coast. Like you mentioned earlier, we got a couple storms already. Some have been named. The next one is going to be Danny. There is something out over north of South America.
Aruba.
Yeah, almost.
Aruba,
They-
Jamaica.
Was that a
they
male
haven't-
storm or a female storm?
Well, they haven't
Let's
named
go.
it yet, so it's gender neutral right now.
Okay.
So,
Thank you.
yeah, next one will be Danny. There have been a lot early on. They usually don't have this many this early. So, and the last really thing I want to talk about is out of when you're coming out of Las Vegas, there is an Interstate 11. It's only, I think, like 30-40 miles long right now, but what they're planning on is running it all the way down to Phoenix and then Tucson. So that's something that is a project that they're going to be starting on hopefully soon. And
so it's like a connection between Tucson, Phoenix, and Vegas.
yeah, because
Rather than taking
93.
93
yeah,
up.
93 is all they have right now, and that's not the best for high volume. So they want to open it up some more.
Yeah.
Hopefully that'll make life easier for our guys.
How's the Jim Mackey? You haven't been down by the bridge, have you? In the Memphis Bridge?
No, not this week.
Yeah. Have you heard anything
No,
about
I'm out
that, Ian?
No, I have not.
I have heard that that second lane that they added southbound on 55 is helping, but it's not as bad as it was.
Yeah.
It's not looking like they're gonna be able to fix it anytime soon. It could be possibly years before it's reopened. So. I watched a video that one of our guys lunchbox sent over to me last night, and it's a lot worse than they thought. I mean, this could have been a huge disaster, and thankfully it was not.
Yeah, they caught it. Mm-hmm. Well, thanks, Ian. Keep us updated on anything else that pops up, and we'll get to you next week. Joel,
Yes, sir.
are you ready for the wide world of sports?
I don't know about the world, but here in the U.S., we got a little news. What's up, sports fans? Changing gears. Let's talk a little sports here in the U.S. What's going on? We have NBA and NHL playoffs. We have College World Series. Talk a little Major League Baseball and what's going on in the NFL. First, in hoops, NBA playoffs. Tonight, we have Game 1. Atlanta Hawks, Milwaukee Bucks, the winner to go to the finals. Last night, we had a buzzer beater. The Phoenix Suns went up 2-0 over the Los Angeles Clippers, and an exciting alley-oop to win the game. 104-103 was the final.
Suns in 4.
Suns in 4. That series goes back to LA. That will be Friday night. And like I said, Game 1 tonight in Milwaukee between the Bucks and the Hawks. That is the last 4 teams left in NBA.
What? Joel, isn't Kawhi hurt?
Kawhi Leonard played last night.
Oh, okay. I thought he was hurt.
Yep. Nope. They still lost. Over in the NHL, we have Montreal 3-2 over the Las Vegas Golden Knights. And the winner of that series will take on the Tampa Bay New York Islanders series. That game back at the Nassau Coliseum tonight. 3-2. Tampa Bay drilled the Islanders Monday night 8-0 in football. That's like 63-0. This is the playoffs. So I'm gonna pick Tampa Bay, and I can.
You didn't say it correctly, Joel. Say it correctly.
Champa Bay?
Not yet.
Champa?
All right. Champa Bay. Champa Bay. There.
So I have a question before we move on from the hockey, Joel. I don't know
Yes.
much about hockey, but
4 teams.
wasn't that Vegas team, weren't they like 250-1 odds to make the playoffs last year, and didn't they go to the finals?
I think it was 2 years ago.
Or was it 2 years ago?
They went to the semifinals. I believe they lost to Nashville. I'll have to get back with you on what their odds were.
I told you, Christian, you can ask him anything. It's there.
This is insane. This is
I don't
insane.
know about.
Yeah.
If there's an
Rain Man.
ESPN
I
show,
couldn't
I'm
tell you
signing
who
you
won
up
the
for.
finals that year.
Yeah, he's always been like that.
Hit and miss, kind of like the Bulls. Over in Major League Baseball, got the standings. We have Boston Red Sox 1.5 games up over Tampa Bay Devil Rays. In the Central, Chicago White Sox 2 games up over the Cleveland Indians. Out west, Oakland has relinquished to Houston. Houston leads 1. They're up by 1. That's what I'm trying to say. Tight race out there. That's going to go all year. Those 2 teams. Over in the National League, the Mets lead the Atlanta Braves by 4 games. In the Central, the Milwaukee Brewers and your Chicago Cubbies are all tied up. And out west, the San Francisco Giants sport the best record in the MLB right now, 47-26, lead the Dodgers by 3. As mentioned, I did say you had College World Series going on right now. Final 6 teams down. Tonight we have Stanford versus Vanderbilt in an elimination game. The winner of that game will take on NC State in 2 out of 3. And the Texas Longhorns face the Virginia Cavaliers tonight in an elimination game. The winner will take on the Mississippi State Bulldogs in the College World Series Finals. 2 out of 3 in that as well. Over in the NFL,
41 days to the first training camp.
July 21st.
Oh, no, that was last week. It's 34 days now.
34 days.
You're right. Sorry.
July 21st. All teams report except for Pittsburgh and Dallas, who will be in Canton on the 24th for the Hall of Fame game. And this weekend we got a little PGA golf, June 24th through the 27th, the Travelers Championship at the TPC River Highlands in Cromwell, Connecticut. That purse worth $7.4 million. Dustin Johnson, the defending champ last year, will try to do the same. And over in tennis, we got Wimbledon starting in London this weekend through July the 11th. And that is this week in sports, unless Kumar has anything in boxing.
What's going on in MMA or boxing, Kum?
I got some things. This is just some random news, but UFC fighter Louis Pena is accused of punching his girlfriend and breaking her phone in a domestic dispute, and he was arrested. He's a pretty good fighter, very exciting to watch, and
Cordial.
They call him Violent Bob Ross because he looks like Bob Ross.
Is he violent?
But if Bob Ross was violent.
Was that the painter? The guy with the afro?
The afro, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. We'll put up a picture of him right now.
Bob Ross.
Put a happy little tree right next to him.
No, angry.
Happy little fist.
Pissed off tree.
Name of a lawyer.
So there was a fight night this weekend in Las Vegas at the Apex Center. And not really, I mean, it was a decent card, but not one that really stood out. One fight in the prelims, Kanako Murata versus Verna Jandiroba.
A for effort.
Put some air horns over that.
Is that another port?
Yeah.
Ports again.
Matt's got his work cut out for him.
But interesting end. Doctor stoppage. Another dislocated elbow. Nice. Very ugly. She ended up fighting I didn't even notice it for a while until I noticed that her arm was just kind of hanging there. And once the ref noticed it, he got in there. And
who was the ref?
Not the one
Not the
who
guy that blew it the last time?
Yeah. No, and this one was hard to see. She was playing it off pretty well.
Mills Lane.
But the main card was Korean Zombie. His name is Chan Sung Jung, but everybody calls him Korean Zombie because apparently it's hard to say Chan Sung Jung. He fought Dan Ige, and Korean Zombie won in a unanimous decision. And also another notable fight was Matt Brown versus Diego Lima. And Matt Brown basically knocked him out and literally sat him down on the ground. It was pretty crazy to see. It was a good knockout. So, yeah, that's really all I've got.
I got to see him drop an elbow first row at a UFC fight my brother took me to, and his mother was next to me. She's more intense than he is. That is a wild family.
I
mean, he's old. They call him the immortal, but he isn't. He's aging, but he's still knocking people out.
Oh yeah, yeah. He's one of the only older fighters that I will still watch because he actually seems to want to make it a fight. So yeah, I was excited that he was.
He
on
gets
this
that from
card.
his mother.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of Kumar, let's go. Trucking with Kumar. Ray and Jim, are you ready?
Jim fell asleep.
Tempo.
Are we?
All right. So,
Are we gonna double up? Double or nothing?
oh yeah, we're doubling up. Yeah, that we.
Yeah.
Now it's
Go Kumar.
double or nothing.
I got roadkill today to eat. By the way,
sitting
Oh,
on the
good.
side.
I found it on the way here.
Yeah. and
I
Joel,
think it's a possum. I'm not sure.
Joel, don't forget to don't say the answer. You got to let my guys, Jim
All right,
and,
am I gonna
and
blow it
Ray.
this week? Robbie.
Yeah, Joel.
So how do you get to pick your players first? What if I wanted to switch teams?
Well, we made this bet started a week ago, so you're the one that chose Kumar, and I rolled with my boys.
I just want to make
Yeah, you chose the idiot.
I just want to make sure you didn't load the questions up. Yeah.
Oh no!
Hey
They don't
Doty,
know.
you want to back me on this?
Actually, I talked to Trish in safety in logs today, and Trish helped. She sent some questions to Joel, and we got together, and some of these are from her, and some of these are from Joel's wide world of knowledge.
Whatever. Huh?
Static.
Thanks,
Static
Trish.
TV brain.
Appreciate the help.
Smoking the Bandit.
All right, Joel, let's go.
All right, Kumar, you ready?
I'm ready.
Kumar, what is the bridge clearance for a standard trailer?
Jesus Christ.
That's a good one.
I know this.
For a standard trailer.
Yeah, remember the signs. How many times have you been under them?
I want to say 13.6. No, that's how high it is. Let's go 16 feet. Final answer.
Ray, Jim,
13-6.
13.6.
You got to eat half root.
Are you kidding me?
You should have stuck with it.
Is that like what's
had
a
it.
20 and what's a 10-20?
Nice.
Man,
You're breaking my
I'm
heart.
sorry.
You're breaking my heart.
Are
Do you have Cash App? I'll send you some money.
You keeping score, Christian?
And so I'm grabbing drinks at that steak dinner, Russ. I'm keeping score, all right?
All right, Coon. Question number 2. It's an easy one. You ready? Mm-hmm. What interstate would you see Disney World from?
Oh my god.
What's an interstate?
You know that 8-lane highway?
Yeah, it's the interstate is the highways that start with I's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So which one would you see Disney World from?
Which state is Disney World in?
World that we
Oh
can't-
well, that's a good question.
Disney
Ask me
World
that
or
first. Let me-
Disneyland.
Right.
No
I forget.
hints.
Disney World.
WDW. That.
That's
There's
Florida.
a difference between Disney World and Disneyland. Disney World is in California. Disneyland is in Florida.
So what interstate would you see Disney World?
I have never seen Disney World from an interstate.
The
But,
interstates in California.
Are you just giving up?
no, I-77 South.
No.
Ray, Jim, what interstate would you see it?
Is it
So-
on Interstate 5?
Yeah. That's what I was going to say.
Oh,
No, it's in Florida, right? Joel, I don't.
No.
It's
Disney World is
Disney
in
World
California.
is in Florida.
Yes.
Disneyland
Disney-
is in
yeah.
California.
World
So-
is Florida, land is California.
So it'd be the
Or the other way
4.
around.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Oh, so it's the other way around then. Okay, my bad.
You guys
So
need to get routed
okay.
back to Florida again.
95.
All right.
So
I
it'd
only
be
know
95, right?
No.
interstates by my house.
No, it's over off of I-4.
What is it, Joel?
It's a 4.
I-4. Yeah.
I-4.
Orlando, Lakeland.
Right
all
through
that.
Orlando.
Yeah, it's that toll
So
road.
we'll take that
The toll
point.
road.
That's the Sun Pass toll road, right?
It's on
Yeah.
the toll road.
Yeah, I don't know if it goes past Disney World.
It does. Right past
You
it.
can't see
Does
it
it?
on
I
Interstate.
haven't been over there in a while.
I gotta
Yeah.
prove it. I'm
Hey, Russ, we gave one less wrong answer, so that's ours.
So it's a trick question then.
It was a trick question.
I've been there.
Okay. That was actually good because he threw everybody off with we couldn't figure out which state it was in.
I knew that one.
Well, that wasn't the
Should have
question.
asked me
though.
that.
Did we go over the answer?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right,
This is no time for bragging.
what do you got? Joe? So wait a minute. So neither one got it. So it's 0-0. We're tied.
Well,
No, we get
your
one
team
'cause he
gave
missed.
two wrong answers.
You got the first one right.
Yeah, I got the first one right, didn't I?
Yeah, Ray got the first one right. We're 1-0
Oh, it's
here.
AC.
All right, one
Right,
nothing.
but you got two wrong answers on that last question. I mean, that's you know.
Yeah.
We was closest.
Don't worry, we still have.
Let's
Oh,
go.
just wait.
All right, Coon.
That
Multiple
depends
choice.
on how you
Ready?
look at.
Oh yeah, I like this. Yeah, go ahead.
All right, tractor trailers take longer to stop when empty than loaded because A, the center of gravity is lower, B, you're unlikely to brake as hard, or C, there is less traction.
C. Final answer.
It's a trick question. It's a trick question.
Anybody else?
No, it's actually.
Ray,
Yeah, dude.
Jim.
It's C.
Yeah, I'd say C.
It is.
I win.
You got nothing in the box, so
We're still
you
tied.
don't have that
Yeah,
friction or
because
traction as much.
because the truck suspension is engineered to stop better when it's fully loaded than it is when it's in.
All right, darn.
So
Okay,
they
well,
all got that. How do we score that?
Just give it to
First
me.
come, first serve. First come, first serve.
Go right in.
All right. Coon, do you know who founded the Pilot Truck Stop and when?
Ooh.
Truck stop it when.
The right answer is no, Kumar, and that's still an appropriate answer because he asked you, did you? He didn't ask you who it was. Just say no,
do
and that's
I?
the right answer.
But wait, he said and when. So get that right.
Okay.
If he
19
doesn't know it, the answer is no.
I don't know, but I'm gonna make a really good educated guess here.
Okay. Let's go.
I'm gonna say it's gonna be Winston D. Pilot. In 1940. Done.
Okay. Jim Mackey, do you have any idea?
No, I have no idea.
What about you, Ray?
Jim Haslam, 1981.
Yes.
Wow.
He just looked that
Impressed.
up.
I
He
knew
just
it
won the
because
game.
Wow.
Jimmy Haslam, the Haslams own the Browns. So, and actually Warren Buffett, I told Joel this. I said, actually, Warren Buffett's in the middle of buying Pilot Flying J. They've already bought part of it. The Haslams
Right.
are going to stick to more sports.
Flying J win in 1993.
But you can't give me that point because we looked it up.
Oh.
Ah,
Yeah, that's what I knew.
Let's go.
Act looked it up for me, so that's all right.
Sounds like a
But
tie ball
I'm not
game.
gonna-
Yeah.
Sounds like
But
a
you
tie
know me,
ball game.
You know me, I'm not a liar. So if
I know.
say
And AC is our driver. He's down there. He took his. We sent him down there to go to Ray's mechanic. So that's why him and Ray are together in their floaties in the pool.
yeah. Hey, we got matching floaties. Get it right. It's matching floaties. But the stripes are opposite. His or mine. Mine are the interior stripe. His are the outside.
Yeah.
We're good.
All right, let's go, Joel. What do we got?
What happened?
all right. Coon,
Yeah.
what tires should have a minimum of 4 seconds tread depth? A, non-drive axle tires.
No.
B, spare tires. C,
Spare
steering
tires.
steering axle
Don't
tires.
say anything yet, guys.
Or 4, all the above.
So read the answers again. So you got your
Yeah, read the answers again.
Okay, so A,
430 seconds is the
tread
tread
depth?
depth you're looking
Right.
for.
Okay.
For A, a non-drive axle tire. B, a spare tire. C, a steering axle tire. Or 4, all the above.
I'm gonna go with all of the above.
That's wrong, but go ahead and give him the right answer, Ray or Jim.
It's non-drives.
Well,
So-
No.
I mean,
No.
I'm sorry, not non-drive.
That's wrong, so go ahead and give us
Jim?
a point.
Yeah.
0.
I meant non-steer. My bad.
it's
Yeah,
the
not
steers.
steer.
It is the steers.
Yeah. Your steers got to be 430 seconds to
steers.
pass.
No.
And
Yeah,
then drives
yeah.
the
I thought
230
it
seconds.
I thought it was
Drives are
drives. Oh,
Drives are
yeah.
230 seconds. And trailers as well,
That
230
was, that
seconds.
was a trick question.
Is it? Yeah. Is it because we never run our
Steers.
tires that low that we don't know the answer?
Ray, you're missing out on the best fuel mileage you've ever had. Those last 230 seconds. That's where it sits,
Yeah.
bud.
Yeah, you get better fuel mileage out of a worn tire than you do out of a new one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right,
Test
so
it-
where
test
are we
it
at on
and prove it.
score? You got another question for him, Joel?
Coom, how many tires are on an 18-wheeler?
Oh no, I know this one. I know this one.
What's he loaded with?
All right,
Tires. He's on a tire load. Get that one.
Coom, what western state might you find a Russell's Travel Center?
Oh, yeah. I know this. Joel and I used to stop there.
I gotta
Because
guess.
it was my name, and I'm like, Joel, check this out. They got a museum inside there, too. You know where it's at, Jim, right? Don't say it yet.
Okay,
I'm thinking.
Montana.
It's just at Southwest.
Montana's wrong.
Why don't you get a new guess?
So, Jim, do you have any idea where it's at?
I'm gonna guess at Arizona.
Arizona. No.
I
It
don't
was
know.
close, though.
No one remembers Russell's.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say New Mexico.
You're right. And
Yeah.
Joel told me that question
Christian
today, and I had to think about it. I said Arizona, too, at first. And then Joel said no, and I'm thinking, because we used to stop there.
It's your travel center.
Yeah, I know. It's my travel center. But they have the cars in there. They have, like, another car museum. It's pretty cool. And the burgers were good. I remember that, Joel.
All right. Do we need another question?
We do. We're tied.
Yeah,
All
this is
locked
a nail
up.
biter.
Oh, gosh. All right, Coom.
Gridlock.
Can you be busted for not having washer fluid on a level 3 check?
That's a good question.
That was a bunch of gibberish.
Probably should.
So if you go through
You're speaking French, man.
if you go through a level 3 inspection by the DOT on your equipment, Kumar, can they write you up for not having enough washer fluid? Yes or no?
I'm gonna say yes.
No.
Oh my!
Oh man.
What's your Cash App? I'll send you the money.
Caramba.
They can.
They can.
Level
We-
3 is the driver only.
Oh, they can.
Yeah, they can, and we know this because Robert Selby just went through a level 3 and got dinged for that,
Nice.
and that's what brought up the question.
So
I've had mine checked before.
You've had yours checked, Jim?
Yeah, I've had it checked. Colorado did once.
I got a ticket. So here's a funny story. I got a ticket for my washer fluid. It wasn't working when I was hitting the button.
Yeah.
And I was like, I use this thing all the time because I did. I use my window thing. I'll clean the window. That was a
Just that one
Ain't
time
about
it
that.
didn't work?
well. I'm going and I'm like, man, what is going on? And he docked me for it. And I get to the truck stop and I'm messing with the wire, messing with the little motor, and I get back in the truck and I was, instead of, how it has your turn signal has the button on the end of it that I think it flashes my lights or something, and then you had to grab the whole thing and push it in.
Yeah.
Long story short, I was pushing the wrong button the whole time when he was asking me to do that.
Yeah, I told I
Well, just to
mentioned this.
recap, you said level 3, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It was a level
That's
3 that
that's a rod.
Selby.
That's an hours of service. But that's a record of duty status. I mean, I'm not trying to go against Kumar's answer, but that's the level 3 is a driver only inspection.
But they did it. That he got a level 3 and he was wrote up for that.
sounds like you don't want your money.
And it was last week. And Robert Selby's been on the road forever. And he was surprised. He was surprised too that they looked at it. And it wasn't empty, right, Joel? It was a little low. I think.
Yeah, level 3 they
he-
usually,
He had a problem with it.
Oh.
He was empty.
Okay.
because I had a level 3 on the side of the road. They just popped in. I looked at the logs real quick. And, it's a quick deal. I didn't even really look at
Do we need a tiebreaker, Russ?
No, that was.
That,
I just
that,
won.
That was the
All right.
tiebreaker. He won.
All right, good. I'm saving my next
I
question.
keep losing these bets to Christian. We gotta do something here. All right. Hey, listen, guys. Jim Mackey, where are you at
Yeah.
tonight? What are you doing?
I am in Fernley, Nevada right now on my
Fernley.
way to Crescent City, California.
So you're getting ready to go over Donner.
Nope.
Ready for a level 3.
Oh,
We'll
you're
go up
gonna-
395.
Oh, you're gonna go up north and cut over.
Yeah, with
And
my
then
big
down.
heavy load of 4,000 pounds.
Yeah. Yeah. Then you told me earlier they took off half the
I
load.
loaded in Waco, 11,000 pounds. Went to Carrollton, north side of Fort Worth, to Dallas, and took off 7 and left 4,000 to go clear up to Crescent City, California.
Yeah. That's nice when you can go, especially out in that area with those big hills and mountains. You can be 4,000 pounds as long as you can avoid the wind.
Oh yeah, I'm riding like a big dog.
Yeah. With that big dog hood ornament you got on that international.
Yeah.
So where do you end up? What city? Crescent City?
Crescent City.
Yeah. When do you get there?
I'll be there tomorrow afternoon.
Oh, okay. What do you got?
I'll be there sooner, but I got to go all the way up through Oregon and come back down.
Yeah. I think that's better because Ian was showing me the route that you were first talking about with him, and you remember that, Joel? What we ran? I forget the route, but we ran that before. It's up in the mountains. I forget what.
Go up right by Mount Shasta.
Mount Shasta, yeah. That, I mean, I remember driving through there, and I mean, that's like a roller coaster ride, and there's some steep drop offs.
It's
beautiful.
299 or 36.
Yeah. Yep. So what are you doing after that? You got any plans for Jim after he gets out of there? Are you going to work him down or what?
We were looking at a couple things. We're probably just going to load out on Friday, deadhead there, and because we don't really have enough time to run a short load down to SoCal. So we're going to see what's out there. There were a few things I saw that were interesting, but nothing that we could get the rate that we wanted.
Yeah. So how's the truck running, Jim?
It's running pretty good after I put that new injector line on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, air conditioner's keeping up and everything.
Oh, good. I was going to ask you that about the air.
Yeah, it's working. Thank God for that. Last night when I parked down there in Boulder City, Nevada.
Yeah.
When I went to go to bed at 11 o'clock at night, it was 90 degrees. I woke up at about 6 o'clock and it was still 92.
Well, the low here tonight is 45, I think. So I was telling Ray yesterday that he sent me a picture of their pool and stuff, and I'm like, man, I'm sitting outside with a coat on. It was chilly last night. But I'll take it. I don't really like the hot. And how hot was it down there, Ian? You were talking about in Nevada, or I'm sorry,
it's
in
like 600
Arizona.
degrees.
Yeah, like 118 in Phoenix area.
What I was talking about, last week it got up to like 119. But you just made me think of something I forgot to mention on the news.
Oh yeah, the fire.
But just the entire Pacific Northwest next week, they're expecting record-setting temperatures. So possibly could lead to some forest fires and create some delays. Someone that we're trying to relay down in Arizona, the equipment to relay it almost got delayed because of a fire. They had to shut down the highway. So the fires are becoming more and more common out west, and something we're going to have to prepare for.
Yeah, there was a lot of smoke yesterday when I come through Flagstaff area.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of smoke in there.
Yeah, I saw that too. Up like even in Montana, they're starting to get some fires, aren't they, Ian?
Yeah, they're getting hot temperatures too. They were like 100 degrees, I think, last week also.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Yeah, and they're also on top of the heat. It's also a massive drought. They're being told to conserve water. So
yeah,
don't take any showers out west. Save the water.
I can remember running. I forget where I was running, and in the same, like looking out the window, in the same like picture frame, it was the fire warning sign, and then in the middle of nowhere, up on like a hill, a big warehouse for fireworks. I don't know how these fireworks places around the country. I see them everywhere. I don't know if you guys noticed it out on the road, but I see them everywhere. Warehouses that just say fireworks on the side in the middle of nowhere. I'm like,
Yeah.
man, they're not selling fireworks year round. Something else is going on there. I promise you. I promise you. Years from now, whatever, you're gonna realize like the cartel owns those, and it's just a hub for all the drugs. Like, there's no way that, because they're everywhere, and they're in these places that have fire hazard. You know.
I think you're onto something,
What's going
Mike.
on?
Well, they're definitely all over Missouri.
I'm talking the middle of Wyoming.
Oh yeah, I don't know.
Like nowhere. So,
what do you think, Jim? Is there? Have you seen any cartel / fireworks places out there?
Well, I haven't really been paying attention to that.
Have you ever hauled fireworks?
No.
No.
Oh, I haven't had a hazmat license for several years.
Yeah.
Have you ever hauled for the cartel?
Have you ever?
We can't get into that right now.
My cocaine license went out last year.
Hey, Ray. Hey, Ray. I think we might have lost him.
Yeah, it looks like he's muted.
Okay.
He's in the pool.
Yeah, he jumped in the pool with his phone.
He's indecent right now.
Oh, that's AC. AC, I actually had a question for you. I was going to ask you if you ever took a runaway truck ramp.
No, I've never had to do a runaway truck ramp, but I did have a tire come off the front wheel completely. I had to set it down on the rim.
That's dangerous.
Yeah.
Yep.
Steers?
Yeah.
Was it 30 seconds?
How fast
What was the tread depth on that? There's the boys.
There we go. There we go.
The band's back.
I had a steer tire. I felt the air going down on it. Was able to park on the shoulder before it got flat.
Yeah.
No, this
I
would
ran
come
over a nail
completely off.
Oh, wow.
I had nothing but wheel left.
Were you on the highway?
Were you loaded?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Loaded with 44,000 in the box, doing 65 mile an hour.
Yeah, you're lucky.
That's dangerous.
Very. Yeah.
Yeah. How much was the new seat when you were done with it?
$1,100.
That's great. That's funny.
Oh, man.
Well,
$700 for that seat.
So how do you like it down there in Texas, AC? You never go down there, not since you've been with us.
Well, you guys don't let me come down here, but it's about 102 degrees, and I'm trying to keep some ice on my head to keep me cooled off, you know?
Yeah.
Is Ray taking you to the later or what?
Oh, no.
No, we seen that early.
We got to see your best cannonball, man.
There's that river walk. When I went down there with Ray, that river walk was
There's the donut.
You'll
really
be jumping in the
cool.
pool a little later.
Yeah, look at that.
Oh, wow.
Cannonball.
That looks nice.
I'm on my way.
Yeah, Ray's got a nice setup
You got to
there.
dive off that slide, Ray.
Yeah. So we're just kind of chilling.
Well, we could send Jim Mackey down there after he delivers in Crescent City, and then we can do an occupancy report on the 3 of them next week in the floaties. All right.
Oh.
What's up, Jim?
I didn't say nothing.
I thought I heard you say something.
No.
Well, anyway, guys, it's been a good show. I want to give a couple shout-outs here. Truckworx Kenworth of Dothan, Alabama. I got to give Brian a call. I haven't talked to him in a while. See what's up. See what kind of inventory they got in used trucks. Over-the-road apparel. Work clothes for the modern-day trucker. Prime Wellness and Performance in San Antonio, Texas. And also Gardens on Air. That is Lee. Our driver Lee has a farm business. He sent me some stuff yesterday on it, and I'll get some pictures and stuff for next week. But it's pretty cool what they're doing down there, and I guess you would call it like a hydroponic farm. Yeah.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, so we'll get some stuff on that next week. But be sure to comment, like, and subscribe.
Bill and boring.
And also check. Is it okay to say Spotify? Because I know a lot of guys
Yeah,
listen.
yeah.
Okay.
I think you might
I didn't
get
know.
struck
YouTube
by
might.
lightning.
Well, I thought YouTube might throw us off or something.
No.
But
if anybody's been on
get it all out there.
Louis' website,
yeah, if you're driving, a lot of guys listen on Spotify. So check us out on Spotify, Talkin Truckin with Deaton and Doty. And get better soon, Tom. We're all pulling for you. We're glad you made it through the surgery. And with that, go Browns, go Indians, and go Cavaliers.
Cowboys.